Calgary Flames are expected to be in an interesting spot next season, very similar to this one. A team destined for the mushy middle, but who will be expected and advised to bottom out to enhance the future. However, there's one cheeky play that is gaining traction all across the league, and that is offer sheets. Could Conroy do this to pull off what St. Louis did this year for next year? We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family, and hopefully we can go to the playoffs as a fam this year. But let's get into this kind of golden opportunity here for the Flames. And like I said in the intro, it all kind of revolves around offer sheets. More and more, we're seeing videos, we're seeing articles, we're seeing just so many media pieces about offer sheets and how they are expected to kind of go crazy this summer. And the Flames could be major players in that category. So we have a great article here from The Athletic. It's written by James Myrtle. So he wrote the 8 NHL teams with the best case to make an offer sheet this offseason. Obviously, we're only going to focus on the Flames. There were some other teams up in here. I think the Flames were ranked 5th out of these 8 teams. There were teams that are in, maybe a bit more of a competitive window to do this that also have cap space. Teams like LA. I know Utah was up there, Montreal, Anaheim, teams like that. But either way, let's get into kind of the introduction of this article before we get into the Flames themselves. So there's an interesting debate in the NHL right now over whether this will be the summer of offer sheets or not. And as you can see, the screen cap I took, that's a link. There's literally an article from just a day before this one came out that this will be the summer of offer sheets, essentially. So it's expected to be pretty crazy. Certainly the fact that the St. Louis Blues pulled off the double sheet last year with Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway helps improve the odds, especially given how they've contributed to the Blues midseason resurgence this year. That's going to make offer sheets, a little bit more possible. We've seen other offer sheets in the past. You think of the Kotkaniemi one, a few off seasons ago where Carolina offer sheeted him. That one didn't work out too well in the way Carolina wanted. Still wasn't a terrible pickup by them at all, and Montreal was pretty upset about it. But this one from last year really shows how successful they can be. I mean, Dylan Holloway, I know he's currently injured just for a couple games. He has been absolutely spectacular. I think since the Four Nations break, he might have more points than Draisaitl since then, which is just absolutely insane. No one really expected that. So it could get more popular based off of not only, Holloway and Broberg's success this season, but St. Louis's success this season. They've once again come out of nowhere and are definitely going to be in the playoffs and might never lose again. So does the team have its own picks? Now we get into the criteria of what a team needs to have in order to kind of be able to do these offer sheets. So offer sheet compensation in the NHL involves giving up various levels and quantities of draft picks from a max of 4 first-rounders for high-priced talent, an estimated more than $12 million AAV in the summer of 2025, which is insane, down to just a third-round pick for players making under $2.5 million per year. So teams need to have their own picks, not ones they've acquired from other teams, and for this exercise and simplicity's sake, we won't include the possibility that they could reacquire their picks to attempt an offer sheet. So there's a lot of teams out there that don't have their first-round picks. There's a couple teams that don't have them, for this upcoming offseason or this upcoming draft all the way to 2027. Teams like the Leafs, teams like Tampa Bay as well has traded away a lot of their picks. So does the team also have enough cap space? With the cap going up 8.5% to $95.5 million next season, more teams are going to be flush with spending money going into free agency this summer. But not every team will have the kind of extra room after signing their own RFAs and adding some UFAs to get aggressive with an offer sheet. That's what it boils down to. Offer sheet isn't always, it's never going to be your first thing to do. Got to take care of your own RFAs first. Maybe sign guys who were on your team that are UFAs or looking elsewhere at other UFAs. The Flames, they do have a couple RFAs that they will sign. We will get into that in a second here. But so far, the Flames have their own picks for the future. They won't probably have their first round pick for this upcoming draft, which we all know. But 2026, 2027, they might. So there's a chance here. We know that they will have lots of cap space as well, even after signing a few of these guys. So is the team going to finish in the league's basement? Kind of the last piece of criteria here. So a San Jose or Chicago-like rebuilding team could theoretically make an offer sheet, but would it be worth it if they end up giving up a top 10 lottery pick or two? Ask the Leafs of 15 years ago. So we'll eliminate teams projected to bottom out next year, focusing more on clubs like the Blues who have a shot to contend or at least be decent in 2025-26. Now, I know fans of the Sharks, fans of the Blackhawks will be saying, hopefully next year is the year where they can start to actually be competitive a little bit. Maybe not, make the playoffs, but at least be in the bubble sort of thing. But it is true. Teams like that, they're going to have to pay their young players as well. So teams like that don't really fit in. It kind of seems like the Flames might be perfect for this. So as I said before, they actually slotted in at 5th on this article of 8 teams. So no, Calgary isn't always considered a hugely desirable landing spot by some players' standards. It's the unfortunate truth. But they scored near the top of the league in most of the other categories here. And with Dustin Wolf in goal, they shouldn't be bottoming out in the standings anytime soon. So they have a little bit of leeway with some of these guys. They can say, look, we've built a great culture here. We aren't going to be bad. We have a great goalie. We're building from the foundation up. It seems like we really have something going here. New arena coming. So, hey, a rebuild doesn't seem to be on the table either, not with a new building on the way in 2027. They have a handful of their own RFAs, such as Connor's area and Matt Coronato to sign, but even after getting that business done, they should have at least another $15 million or so to get aggressive in free agency, and they have needs on left defense and up front, given they sit second last in goals per game and they have an aging cast down the middle. So that part means that's who you can target in an offer sheet. Do I expect the Flames to necessarily go for a left defenseman? Not really. I'd expect it to be more a forward. That's why, some of the, here, I'll finish this first. It's going to take something bold for Calgary to get out of the West mushy middle. An offer sheet certainly qualifies. And it definitely does. It's one of these sneaky plays that we're seeing more of, and it worked for St. Louis. Maybe it could work for Calgary. Now, players that the Flames could offer sheet. There's actually a lot of good RFAs coming up. Obviously, in the thumbnail of this video, the intro of this video, I included Matthew Knies. Why did I include Matthew Knies? He is an excellent player, so phenomenal. He could be offer sheeted, but it's more so because Treliving is the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Flames know that he's not the brightest tool. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Apparently, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. So the Flames could definitely, do a little something to get under his skin, see what's going on, and you don't expect Treliving to make the best play. I know I'm being harsh on Boston Pizza Brad, but still, there's a chance. There's also Marco Rossi from Minnesota as an option, Noah Dobson from the Islanders, Evan Bouchard, even from the Oilers, is an option. I know a couple of those guys, obviously, Bouchard and Dobson are defensemen, but still, Rossi, you could definitely go after. Matthew Knies, a great option. Is he a center? No, but hey, they could go for it. There's also Miller from the Rangers is another big name. I know he's another defenseman, but there are options out there for, obviously an offer sheet to happen, and who knows, we could see the summer of offer sheets take place, and maybe Calgary will be involved. Now let's get into tonight's game. We'll talk about tonight's game and maybe some little playoff odds here after last night's action, but it is the annual South Asian Heritage Game tonight, which is always a fun celebration. The Flames are at home to the Vegas Golden Knights on Hockey Night in Canada here. This one goes at 8 p.m. A bit of a later one, but it should be a fun one, and it's not going to be easy because yes, Vegas has secured their place in the playoffs. Why don't we pull up the standings? Vegas has clinched a playoff spot, but they're still fighting for that top spot in the Pacific so that we can inevitably have another LA Kings Edmonton Oilers first round series. But yeah, Vegas, they're going to want to keep the points going until they've secured that top spot in the Pacific. So it's going to be a tough one. Now for the Flames, things actually went well last night as the Minnesota Wild were in action and did lose. The New York Islanders did us a favor, beat the Wild. I believe it was 3-1 was a final score. So Minnesota, they are just dropping. They were top of the standings in, wasn't it like December or even January? Man, losing one player can really do that to a team. That shows just how valuable Kaprizov is. But still, the Flames are now 5 points back, but 2 games in hand. And they play Minnesota in one of their remaining games, which is pretty nuts. Now, Minnesota does have a few tiebreakers here, regulation or overtime wins, and it's almost impossible for the Flames to catch up at that point. They just have to finish with more points, but there is a chance. If we get into the good old money puck wheel here, the Flames have gone up to an 18% chance to make the playoffs now, which is still slim, but a lot higher than it has been. So Minnesota, they're falling 83%. I believe at this time last week, they were at something like 98 or at least 95. So kind of crazy what's going on with them. It's benefiting the Flames, and who knows what could happen. Every day it shifts a little bit. It seems like we're down in the dumps and then, there's this little spark of hope. That little spark of hope is here right now. I mean, it's a beautiful day in Calgary. Vibes are high. If the Flames get a win tonight against Vegas, then their remaining schedule gets a lot easier. They could just sneak in. It is nuts. Now let's get into the comment of the day to wrap up this video, and it goes exactly with what I was just talking about, kind of the remaining schedule, the playoff odds here, and it comes from a great username in Pickled Cucumber 2000. They said the Wild aren't looking hot right now. We have 2 games against the Sharks still and 1 more against the Ducks, plus a tiebreaker against Minnesota. That matchup that's coming up against the Wild. If we keep playing like we have lately and the Wild keep playing like they have lately, look, I'm not going to say anything but with a little side-eye emojis there. It could just happen. There is definitely a chance. It's a slim chance, but there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe like we saw here today and have a wonderful rest of your day.